Hey collectors, welcome back to the channel. A little bit ago, I released a video talking about films that are worth upgrading, some that maybe I think aren't so much. And I talked specifically about Jurassic Park, how even though this is, a boost in resolution and that they have applied, some HDR here and there, I didn't feel like it was that great of an upgrade. Stick with the Blu-ray for the most part. Then I got a lot of comments from all of you. A lot of you are saying, the Dolby Vision version came out. You can buy it individually, pre-order it, whatever. It just released, and I got my version. And I've got to tell you, it looks exactly the same. But how does the transfer compare with the Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos? That's the question. Let's talk about it. All right, before we get into the transfers, I do need to tell you that I will talk about packaging specifically at the end of my review, because to me, this is kind of unacceptable. I hate this as a collector. There's no real way for me to know which is which. Why would you do that, Universal? Why would you do that? So we'll talk about it more. I have a solution that I came up with. Wait and see, and I hope you enjoy this. Before we jump to that, let's talk about the transfer. All right, let's talk about the new 4K Jurassic Park with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, and whether or not it's really worth picking up as an upgrade from the prior 4K release. The short answer is yes. This is by far the best version of the movie we've had for home release, but I wouldn't say it's a night and day overhaul completely. It's about refinement. Starting with the big question, the Dolby Vision. What kind of difference is it actually making? The biggest difference here to my eyeballs, because that's what I'm using, is really the color grading. In my opinion, the old 4K had a tendency to look a little bit overcooked in a way. Almost like when you're outside in the sun for too long and your eyes are starting to see oversaturated colors, everything kind of looks a little bit off. That's how I felt about the prior release. The greens were a little too punchy here and there. Skin tones were a little bit off, and this new Dolby Vision Pass pulls everything back just a little bit, makes things seem more natural. You really notice it in scenes like the Brachiosaurus reveal, where the greens maybe aren't quite as punchy, or even in the dig site scene at the very beginning. Things seem just a little bit less orange. There's also a clear improvement in contrast and shadow detail. Dolby Vision has something called dynamic metadata. And so what that means is that it's adjusting the dark levels scene by scene. So darker moments, such as like the T-Rex attack, have more visual detail in them without crushing all of the blacks. Now, this isn't a perfect transfer, right? And I believe that it's still based on the older master of the movie. So you're not getting a brand new scan here from the 35mm film that they used originally. This is the same scan as what they used for the prior 4K version. So the adjustments can only be within that limitation. That means that some shots still kind of look soft, and the early CGI will always look like early CGI, if you know what I'm saying. Typically, it's 2K resolution that they render all this CGI in. So when you put that against a brand new 4K scan of the film itself, it's just always gonna seem off, right? It's always gonna feel like it's kind of interposed on top of the film. And that's just the reality of how this movie is made. We're going to have to deal with that. That being said, I think they did do a good job here kind of softening the transitions and making it feel as close to reality as they could have done. Also, grain handling here is pretty interesting. Again, the older disc had a bit of inconsistency here, and sometimes grain was visible, and sometimes they completely smoothed it out. Here, with Dolby Vision, it feels more restrained and evenly layered throughout the movie, though not completely untouched. Again, from what I was reading, some people are kind of outlining or saying that they're still noticing light noise reduction, or DNR, right? Where they're trying to smooth the edges, kind of make it look a little bit more digitally clean. And I did kind of notice that still, but I have to be honest, it was a lot harder for me to notice it with this Dolby Vision. I kind of had to be looking for it, right? And so that was one of the things that I noticed going through this movie again with Dolby Vision, is I was nitpicking because I was consciously trying to find the flaws or the differences, for this video. So yes, I did notice it. But if I wasn't looking for it, I think I'd have a much harder time with this version than with the prior one. So overall, I would say the film grain is just less distracting overall than it was in the prior version. Everything just seems a little bit more balanced. Again, something I mentioned about 4Ks is that when it's doing its job right, you're not noticing the things that it should be doing. It, allows you to immerse yourself. And, they did a good job here. Now, however, let's talk about the real upgrade that you're getting with this release. And that is, my friends, the Dolby Atmos track. This, to me, is where this release is absolutely separating itself up front from the prior DTS:X sound mix that was, available. The original DTS:X track was okay, but this Atmos mix has a much better sense of space and channel separation than that one did. Effects move more naturally across the soundstage, especially in scenes like the T-Rex attack or the Raptor kitchen sequence. And those are the places you really want it to punch, right? And it sure does. It punches and slaps and just throws you over on your back every single time. Amazing. And you're also getting more environmental detail, I noticed, with this mix, right? So like rain hitting on different types of surfaces, or like distant dinosaur movements that are happening in the foliage or like around you. Other subtle background layers, all are placed more precisely around you than before. But the biggest improvement for me and my setup was the dialogue balance. The older mix could definitely feel uneven for me, with dialogue often kind of getting pushed down or muffled by the other, sounds that are happening, the sound effects, the music, just kind of overwhelming you. For me, it was hard to understand the dialogue, what characters were saying to one another on top of everything else going on. Here, it's much more centered and controlled. You don't have to ride the volume button up and down as much with this as you did before, which was a real frustration for me in the last version. Honestly, that alone might make this worth the upgrade. And the more I think about it, the more I really think that the Atmos soundtrack might be the biggest selling point for you on this upgrade. But here is, I guess, my final verdict. Dolby Vision, overall, a noticeable improvement, better color grading, and just more natural and better contrast throughout the film. Dolby Atmos, massive improvement. By far the best this movie has ever sounded in the home theater environment. If you already own the 4K, I would say this one is probably worth upgrading to. And if you are buying for the first time, this is the version to get. But now you're probably thinking, hey, Peterman, okay, but which one are you pointing at? I don't know, because they both look the same. Honestly, as a collector, this has got to be one of my biggest pet peeves of all time, just lazy packaging. I mean, come on, Universal, you release a new transfer of a beloved movie that has upgrades to it, but you make absolutely zero effort to differentiate the two from each other. I mean, come on. That's a shame. You should be ashamed. And I'll say this, Jurassic Park isn't just another movie for me, at least. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. This is top 40 for sure. And when you love something like that, the way I love this movie, you do want it to feel special on the shelf. And this just isn't doing it. So as collectors, here's the question. Why is it that, we have to get either cheap, recycled packaging or have to spend a ton of money on like ultra limited editions just to get something that is considered collectible? We already have a great disc, right? So I decided, all right, enough. If the studios are not going to do it for me, then I'm just gonna have to do it myself. If you've been following me for at least a little bit, you know that I do like my boutique releases of movies. And I am feeling inspired by those boutique labels like Arrow Video or the Criterion Collection, companies that treat the physical media like something that's worth celebrating. So I have decided to make my own special edition of Jurassic Park for my shelf, and it all starts with the artwork. When I started thinking about what to draw, I kept coming back to one scene in particular, the clever girl moment. Muldoon is in the jungle. Is he the hunter or is he being hunted? That mix of tension, beauty, and just pure dread. That's what I wanted to capture here with this image. So I started with a full hand-drawn piece, penciled first, then inked it. I wanted, that organic, slightly imperfect look that you just can't necessarily fake digitally. And once that was done, I scanned it into Photoshop and separated out the line work so I could paint underneath it. From there, it became all about contrast. I wanted bright, vibrant foliage, deep shadows, and that feeling that something might just be lurking out of sight. So I wanted it to feel alive, but also a little dangerous, right? That's what this movie does convey for me. Once the artwork was finished, I formatted it for a Criterion style 14 millimeter Blu-ray case. I'll showcase that in just a minute. I added a custom spine, back cover details, and, even a small signature mark and numbering system, because why not? Then I sent it off to print, and here it is. Honestly, using a Criterion style case makes a huge difference. it just feels more premium, right? You've got the clear case. It's a sturdier build. That thicker spine does look better on the shelf. And now it actually looks like it belongs next to other boutique releases on my shelf. And I'm really, really happy on how this turned out. But I'm not done, because, you know, if you're going to do this, you might as well do it all the way. So I started to think, what would it take to push this even just a little bit farther? Maybe more like, you know, an Aero Video limited edition type of case. So I made a box, a very simple box for now, but precisely made because I wanted it to match perfectly the Aero Video format. So in an upcoming video, I've decided I'm gonna, you know, take this a little bit farther. You know, what would it look like to add some goodies in here? We're gonna do some paper marbling veneer on this box, and we're probably gonna create a slipcase to go right alongside it so that, you know, I don't have to use the mask one for Jurassic Park. And after that, you know, we'll see how it stacks up with my other boutique films. If this sounds like your kind of thing, you know, make sure you're subscribing to the channel so that you get notified when that is coming up. I wouldn't want you to miss it. And also, you know, leave some comments. Let me know, what did you think about the Dolby Vision release of Jurassic Park? Is this the best version that we can have right now? Or even, are you as frustrated as I was with this lazy packaging and just lazy packaging in general from these huge companies? And as always, you know, if you enjoyed this video, a like goes a long way here. You know, thank you for spending time with me here on the channel. And until next time, keep on collecting.